Who would think that that bolt would be that long? Ay, 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 ay. Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm an artist. This is my 1988 Silver Eagle Model 15 bus. 4 years ago, the motor decided to let go on me, and I've been picking away at it ever since. Here at my shop, you never know what jobs, projects, or shenanigans I'll be up to. So follow along with me as I try to get this bus back on the road and get into future projects. This is 11th Hour Custom. I was watching a guy on another channel had one of these tools, right? And of course, he said he didn't know what it was for. So one guy said it was a cotter pin tool, which it may be a cotter pin tool, which I don't know it as a cotter pin tool because I use it for this. And I have a bunch of them. So I break seals on hoses with it, which I always thought it was for. But it busts the seal on hoses that easily. So you see it. And it has a shoulder. And that abracadabra. But anyway, I want to get this pump off so I can get it apart. I'm going to get it down to the housing. Then I'm going to glass bead it. Primer and paint. Alright, the water pump. We're going to take this thing apart, take a look at it. I got a rebuild kit for it. Inspect this and pull that clip off. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Alrighty. And that was that, easy breezy. They really don't look bad. Let me get the impact going at a 5/8. I'm pretty sure it's 5/8. 5/8. I guess we're gonna have to put a puller on this, huh? Okie dokie. This one looks like it might work. Okay, so I got a couple 2-inch 5/16 bolts, and I cranked them in this little puller. Now this motor burned up. This motor just came from, and that was the one that was in the bus. I'd be a fool to not take this apart while I had it out. So that's why we're doing it. Alright, so that's off. Done and done. So that's the impeller. It's pretty clean, it's not worn. There's some pieces in here. It's gotta get cleaned anyway. Let me go get the rebuild kit and I'll show you what's in that. So this is the rebuild kit, and it's got a new shaft, a couple new O-rings. I think there was a bearing too. So this obviously goes in this way. We'll flip this over, we'll take the other side apart. I'm going to pull this O-ring out of here. So this one here is square. At least it's square now. It probably was round. I'm going to flip this over and pull the gear out. So this I might refer to the book. You know, I usually wing it. And I know I shouldn't. Now, all in all, it does look good. The bearing feels good. So I'm going to go look in the book and see what the book says. And if I could put a puller on this, I'll put a puller on it and we'll pull this off. That's what it recommends to do. It's not a lot of pressure, but I don't want that gear to fall. Alright, sorry about that. It was still in there. And it was in there. I thought I broke something. So we'll get that out. Press this out. There's a lot of crud in there. There's the seals. See if we can get this off. Yeah, can you get me a drink too? There you go. Those seals. Alright, I'm going to press this gear off. According to the book. I want to warm this up. I don't like using presses. This is a 50-ton 1950 pneumatic hydraulic press, and I got to get this gear off the shaft for the water pump. So I tried putting probably about 10 or 20 tons on it, and roughly, the gauge don't really work that well. I'm gonna put a little bit of heat and then see if that helps. A little bit of heat can't hurt. I changed size of the pin, and I actually put a piece of pipe in there. And it's almost the exact size as the shaft. So, and I just tied a rag down there because I'll probably miss it when I go drag it. So, it broke free. So I'm just gonna press it out. There we go. So that's it. That's the water pump shaft and the two bearings. I got a new shaft and bearings, but these, to save these, they have to be pressed off. But there's no reason to do that because I got a new one, but I do need the gear. So that's got to be pressed on the new shaft. So that's going to go in the parts washer and get cleaned. It looks like it's got bits of something in there. Could be from when the motor blew up. I got to tell you, I've always been scared of hydraulic presses, because one time I had a Jeep and we had to press that axle out of the Jeep, and my friend Joey worked at Cherubini Yachts, and they had one that had like a bottle jack up here, and there's like a metal ring that holds a bottle jack in place. Like, obviously this is a heavy duty press. Well, that one was maybe a 20-ton jack or something. So we were jacking it, trying to press the axle. Same kind of scenario, right? But it was a axle from a Jeep and the hub. But we didn't have heat. We didn't have oxygen acetylene. We just had propane, and we were trying to heat it up. And I'm pulling on the jack, pulling. We put a 10-foot pipe on the thing, and we're jacking it. And all of a sudden, you hear boom, and it shoots the axle straight down, and it shoots out of there. And when that happened, when it broke, I heard this whoosh, like go by my. I heard this thing shoot by my head, and it, like right before it broke, and it flew back and hit the wall, and I hear like go ding 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 all the way down the garage. And we're like, what the hell was that? And he's like, I don't know. So here we got the axle out, and we're looking, and here the jack was leaning out. Well, it broke that big metal ring that was like this thick, and it sheared it in half, and it shot right past my head. It would have went right through my skull, and went across all these milling machines and everything. Because once you use the air, And you start pumping with this, and it really multiplies. I might die grinding these ports out. Because there's over 4 on the cast. That can come out too for the water pump. That's been on there a while. So in the book, you need a tool, J25, 25-7, or I don't know what it is. Anyway, what it is it's basically a piece of pipe, heavy duty piece of pipe welded to a plate with a fitting, either a huge washer or a nut, or in my case I found this fitting that fits directly over the shaft. And really what you want is you want something that fits tight over this, that pushes on this bearing shoulder, not on the bearing housing, so that like when you're pressing it in, you got room in the shaft for this shaft. So we're going to cut a piece of this pipe off, make it level, weld it to this piece of 1/4 inch plate, and then we'll have a device to press the bearings in. I had to stop the high speed. This cutting wheel I was using, this grinder, which is a Harbor Freight unit. Well, if you look at this housing right here, see that huge crack? And then there's a huge crack here. Well, I use this, I've been using it strictly to cut steel with. And I did have one of these Harbor Freight wheels shatter on me. I guess I maybe got it cockeyed, which I do. You know, I'm not perfect. I guess maybe it broke that. It's making an awful noise. This goes in the trash. Say goodbye. Served your purpose. There's no reason to chance losing my face over that. And then we'll go back to cutting this pipe. This was the section on the water pump in the book. So you can see this is where I got my information from, and the tools. That was it there. And this is where I did the disassembly and stuff. And this is, so that's the tool I made. This right here. And then it shows you using that tool in the water pump, but like it fits in that collar, but I didn't do it that way. It went right in on its own, no problem, no cracking that I heard. I guess we'll find out when I start it. Like I said, this shaft here, everything is still good. I mean, I'm gonna save it as a backup, and just in case. The impeller is perfect, but there was like debris of bearing material and stuff behind the gear and all that in the motor wheel. So it's a good thing I took it apart, and I don't need any extra help destroying stuff. I measured this, and this is literally, you know, 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So if you use a 3/4 inch opening in a nut, and I have some big nuts, big nuts. My suspicion on this thing was it's aluminum. It looks like it's galvanized because it's, I could see where I was grinding it away, and it sticks to a magnet. Somewhat. Let's try that again. They're shitty magnets. What's the ultimate test? The ultimate test is, will it weld? I'm gonna try to weld it in place here and keep it level. Okay, big test. Welded. I gotta make a thing to press the bearings on the water pump shaft for the bus. This tool that's According to the internet, the tool's about 350 bucks.
What?
So I just made one. The gaps on the bearing are even. That'll work. So here's the smaller bearing. It's resting on that shoulder there. Yeah, so the small bearing goes on that side. The larger bearing goes on the back side with the gear. Here's the larger one. So that one goes up here. And then the gear goes on top of that. So this will be our test drive. What kills me about stuff like this is, you know, if you're like a Detroit guy and you do this, I'm sure there's guys that do it with a hammer and be like, oh yeah, that's no big deal. I don't know what you're worried about. Well, that's not a big deal, is it? Okay. Alright, so that one's on. Whatever. What were we sweating, right? This seal was in like that. This is the gear side. And that seal was in there like that. I have a seal driver kit that I've had for years. And this one here fits perfectly on that. So I was going to use this to drive that in. Then put the other seal, which is this one, the spring-loaded one, in the other way. I just washed the pump and cleaned it again. Make sure the insides were clean because there was a little bit of dust in there. So it feels like it's going down. That's all I need. It's crooked. You know, you try to do things right. Messed it up. Oh, you know what? This went through there. I wonder why. Look, I messed the spring up. So we'll fix it. I'll take the spring out of this one. This one's still, I mean, it's bad, but the spring's good. Alright, so I'm going to pull this spring out. Like so. I'll pull the spring out. Like so. I'll put this on. I said that fixed that. So now I got to figure out what goes in this thing. If I just done it with a socket, that would have been fine. What a weird tool. I'll show you. Let's see if I can get the camera in a better view. Sounds solid. Looks solid. I think we did it. I'd say that'll be good for this one because I don't think I have anything that'll make that gap. How about that shit? It fits it pretty good. Well, that's it. I don't think I damaged anything. So this old one with this one here is smashed and cracked, and I don't think I did that. So that was about toast. This gets pushed into this, like so, and then we put the gear on. So it feels pretty square. I think I might take it back out and press this on and outside the housing. It's just as easy to do it that way. Alright, so here's the deal. So I'm going to press this shaft back out, put it in the tool I made, press the gear back on, then I'll put the clip in through the same way I took it apart. The book doesn't necessarily say that. I really don't want to destroy anything or crack anything, so I'm just going to undo it and do it the way I knew I took it apart, and I really didn't mess anything up when I took it apart. So, and then at least now it'll be resting on the center shoulder of the bearing. They say to make it flush with the top of the shaft. Put this block of wood in there. I feel safer with a piece of disposable wood. Everything still feels good. Oop, son of a bitch. That's not good. Frickin' rings in the way. I knew I'd mess something up. God damn it. Look, stupid. I got the clip stuck in there. That's why I didn't go all the way. It's always something, man. Always something. So we'll see if we mess that clip up. So look, you know, I kept checking to see if it was loose, and then the 1 minute I don't look, it gets jammed in there. All right, so I got a punch here, and we're gonna see if I can just drive it out from under that shoulder. Yeah, it's moving, so that's not too bad. Just getting in there is the bad part. That's out. There's no damage to the clip. See, it's out. It felt like it stopped, but I couldn't figure out why it wasn't close to the end. Okay, so that's it. Look, we're flush. Flush. Now that's a lot closer to flush than when I pulled it apart. Voila, so this thing worked. So all we do now is get the clip in where the clip goes, and it's turning fine. So far so good. So we'll put the holes where we can grab the clip with the snap ring pliers here. I hate these things. The only thing good about doing it this way is the clip can't shoot you in the face. So we're gonna get a little help from a screwdriver here. Alright, so that side's in. There we go. So just for the hell of it, I'm going to tap on the edge of this clip here just to make sure it's seated. First I'm gonna just right there. So we're definitely in the groove. This is turning. Everything sounds fine. Last but not least is this side. Shiny new thing here. This has to be torqued down to 80 pounds. So I'll get a socket and an impact gun, and we'll run that down. Okay, 5/8. As of right now, it's sitting flush on with the edges, but so we'll get the torque wrench, and there's a tool supposedly to do all this and to press that in. I think the way we did it worked. I'm not saying that I'm an expert and I know what I'm doing, but I'm sure this has been done on the roadside. I'm gonna make sure this is torqued to 40 pounds. I'm using the gears from the motor to do it. So the nut's torqued. Now they tell you to turn this shaft at 80 psi to see if the impeller is going to turn. Now it's not installed permanently because I got to put the O-ring on the backside and all. So I got these things. We'll try clamping this down with this. And I was thinking, worst case scenario, we'll take this piece of wood and press the O-ring down and then get it in. But we'll see. That clip's like wedge shape. Alrighty. So make sure we get the wedge side up, flat side down. This is a lesson in antiques. You had it, Chris. You had it. Maybe one tap. I don't know. Maybe one nut. Let's try it again. This is the shit that scares you. That's why it's wedge shaped. So much for your fancy clip paint. Now, like a dummy, I put the clip on upside down probably, right? The two ends probably should be this way. There's no turning it. Oh well, we'll have to see if it leaks. I don't think it will. So, pump's done. Thanks to these donkeys. You never know what you have in your drawer. What the hell's my drink? So I'm just gonna paint a little of this in that groove there. Just as a glue. Just so it doesn't come out. Since it's an O-ring, it doesn't need any lubricant or anything. Hi. So here's the O-ring. Last piece of this puzzle. That'll hold that. You fuck. Don't even tell me that that's stripped. I think that's stripped. I'm gonna take it off. I don't think the bolt was long enough. That's my bet. Looks like it pulled the thread out of the end. I'm gonna look into doing a helicoil. In the meantime, I'm gonna put this pipe on down here. The inlet pipe. See if there's 7/16 or 3/8. There's like 3/8. Alright, so I had to get two long bolts, 2 3-inchers and 2 1-inchers for that. And I probably shouldn't have put that pipe on because now when I put the water pump on, I gotta put this hose on too. But it's on there now. So yesterday we discovered this hole was stripped. I'm gonna helicoil it. First I gotta drill it out. Blow that out. Helicoil's in. Tang removal. Do not attempt to twist the tang off with the tool. lift tool from Tang, turn 90 degrees, and tap. Ah, I see. It did break off. This is the kit I use, 7/16 14. When you see me talking about the tab in there, that's what I was doing. I screwed that in, then I slammed it against that little tab and it broke it off. And then I blew it out with the gun. Nice, how about that? So it's threaded in. Sweet. So I'm gonna put a little blue Loctite on the one with the Healy coil when I put it in. Hopefully it'll keep the Healy coil in. So there's another problem too, is I probably should take that out and flip the clamps around. That's one of them things that it's going to be in the way of the hose and everything in the front of the motor here. So before I go permanent with that, I'm going to double check my old pictures and see what's here besides the fuel filters are there, like this. Alright, so this is a picture I took when I was taking the bus apart. I took a bunch of pictures so I can get the wiring and stuff, and like, you know, the hoses and everything. Actually, it's not too bad. It looks like it's in the clear. It doesn't look like it's in the way. Maybe it's a little cleaner looking, because it looks like the filter hangs right here. Yeah, so I'll do that. I'll leave them there. That's fine. Okay, I chased these threads with a die. So hopefully we won't have any issues. So this bolt here, bring this side in. Okay, so that's snug. The top's snug, and then we're gonna get a socket for the front there. Go nice and easy on this one here. Feels better than it did. I'm gonna check the torque specs on that, just to make sure that I do have it tight enough. So that's on there. This is the Healy coil one. That's one I was worried about. That's 39 pounds, so I did this one already. Well, here we are at the end of another video, and I want to thank you if you hung in there. Make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment. That always helps me out, helps get the videos out in the mainstream. So as you can see here, this motor is stripped down to bare bones and there's nothing left to use. What's left is going to be spare parts and scrap. And as you can see, the other motor is no longer inside. So that only means one thing. That means at the next video you'll get to see where it went. So hang in there till next week. That's going to be a big video. You know what, I'm done rambling. Alright, let's call this at the end. Until next time, I'm going to go eat dinner.